Hello and welcome to Max Attempts to Vent. This is really just a channel for me to talk about things going on in the world because I can't afford therapy to talk about this stuff. So I talk about it on here. So yeah, what's been making me particularly nervous is the AI sector, or financial services intermixing with the artificial intelligence development sector and making all of the different financial vehicles from that, which may or may not be dodgy in nature, uh, heavily interlinked with private equity, and how that is scary as hell because people who have been examining this stuff, thinking they would invest in it, some of them with half a brain, are starting to realize that this thing is risky. Quite not quite as risky as like other things in the past because we've developed fail safes for the banking system so that it doesn't completely just go like that. But what's been created from that is like a slow molasses kind of style of failure where it's like, oh, and dips and then it goes back up again, and then it dips and it goes back up again, and it carries on going like that, like you're walking in like heavy mud. So like the foot goes in, squelch, you get stuck for a bit, you try and wiggle your foot out and it gets out and you carry on. But then gradually the person walking is getting more and more fatigued. And that is the nature of the whole thing in a nutshell. That is what's going on with it because we have these fail safes, but they're not being used responsibly. They're being used more regularly than they should be, which means that rather than walking along the mud with like a flatter planed surface of like a plank shoe or something like that so you can more easily spread the weight across, you're just going straight in every time you step through that mud, and it is just not a good long-term strategy. Using that analogy, you can see why it's a bit kind of dodgy. From what I gather, watching a guy called Ed Zitron, that's what I've surmised from that. I'm not a smart person, I'm a midwit, but I like study people who are smart and don't put all their money into this hyper scaling malarkey and just like learn from people who are just observing it from the sidelines but commenting on it. And Ed Zitron is one of those people. He hasn't heavily invested, or rather, he's sort of taken out some of his investments and like reinvested somewhere else because he's noticed there's a problem with this long term, and everyone else is just going crazy with it, like putting all their money into it. And it's worrying. It's scary to watch that happen. Like, do people just losing their marbles over this stuff, thinking there's going to be this great thing when it's not? Like, well, it might be. It's just you need to develop methods of production that are very easy to do, like cheap, like a cheap method of production for next gen stuff rather than specialist stuff that needs to be just so, and you need to get the right kind of engineers that are specially trained to do that and that and the other, and then you have the right conditions to make these materials that then go into these chips. You need a more like democratic style of chip, and there's not that at the moment. There's people making money off of developing chips and then sitting them in a warehouse somewhere, and that's Nvidia. Nvidia is doing that. They're making money off of just making these specialist chips, putting them in a warehouse and saying, "Oh, well, we got these chips. They're not doing anything, but we can use them later on in case we need them for whatever." And that's not going to happen because already people are saying that we want these new chips because China's developed these amazing new chips that are going to be better um, going forwards, and that's going to be interlinked with AI, data centers, and all that stuff. I hope I'm making sense with that most recent bit. My, yeah, my memory's not great with that, but yeah, I hope it makes sense with what I'm saying with that. But really, only about 2 people are going to listen to this, so So yeah, that's what's been worrying me mostly. I watched a documentary. No, no. I watched Art Bell because I like my conspiracy theories and stuff like that. In the past, I've just been completely like engrossed in that stuff. And I watched an interview Art Bell did with a supposed time traveler from 2063, and he said that his team that he is attached with, an agricultural research team, is looking into seeds and seed development and all that sort of stuff. He is making sure that through the timeline, geysers, underwater geysers, are being slowly developed and then nurtured to become eventual volcanoes in the sea to raise the temperature of the earth. And that got me a bit scared. I was like, shit, that's scary. That's a scary little tidbit of information, but I didn't want to know. But that's another thing that has been on my mind and worrying me. So I thought I'd talk about it just to get it out off my chest. As I said before, I do not have access to a therapist, so that is, well, I just can't be able to pay for a therapist. And also, I kind of doubt the efficacy of therapy in this modern age where it's stupidly expensive, even to afford things like groceries, because the consumer price index has risen so much to where people are complaining about bloody Mars bars being fun sized, where there used to be like a fun sized Mars bar. That's now the normal size for Mars bars now. So that's another thing. Like the size of fun sized things, like party sized food items, are becoming gradually more the normal kind of size portion that companies will supply to people, which is a bit of an indicator that things are not going great. Yeah, so there's that. What else is on my mind that I need to get off my chest? I don't have anything else. I don't think. I think that's it. I think that's all the worry warts that I got for the time being. I'd like to shave my face because it looks all scruffy. Don't like that. Uh, growing out my hair a bit. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it though. Anyway, thanks for getting this far. 7 minutes in, or almost 8 minutes. I will talk to you again when I have something to say, but don't hold your breath. This is just for me to just get it off my chest and feel like I've talked to someone at least about this stuff. So that's the whole video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Subscribe if you do want to. Don't really mind if you don't. And if you want to hear more, just read up the name of this video, type it in on your search bar, and then see if I got any new stuff. Alright. Thanks for watching. Bye.